I don't know if they didn't get the script. Other actors read it who turned it down and thought this is just a collection of puns. It's just, and it was, but in this context, with the serious actors, it somehow worked.
So before we do all the movies and all the clips and all of this, if I get out of this thing without a paper cut, it's going to be a miracle. You're from Milwaukee. Normal kid, normal brother. You guys decide to do this crazy farce comedy. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, actually, we weren't even the funniest characters in our class. I mean, there were 10 guys who were really, really funny. It's just that they found jobs when they graduated, and we just wanted to make a career out of being the class clowns. So, and we did it. We started out just really small. We had a little theater in the back of a bookstore in Madison, right off the campus, and we did a show called Vegetables. And that was a big hit. And then we did another show that same year called The Entire History of the Whole World, which was a year before Mel Brooks did his. Yeah, I'm sure.
Are you saying Mel Brooks maybe visited Milwaukee?
No, nobody ever visited Milwaukee. But no, he didn't. Sometimes things are just, we did another bit on stage that Woody Allen did in one of his movies, but nobody copies anybody except for, Naked Gun 4.
Oh, we will get to that.
We'll get to that.
We will get to that.
I'll be good.
Because you are not involved. I'm going to give a little teaser now.
Just tease it.
You are not involved in the rebooted Naked Gun that is coming out.
There's a great story behind that.
We'll get to that in a little bit. We're going to make them wait. So you guys do Kentucky Fried Movie. Did it do well box office wise?
Yeah, it only cost $600,000 to make. So, and that's our catering budget. And it opens and it makes back its entire budget in the first weekend. And the head of it wasn't a studio, it was United Artists Theater Circuit, a exhibitor chain up in San Francisco. And this very scary Egyptian guy named Salah Hassanin ran it. And he was just, he backed our attorney into a corner once and about the deal and everything. And then suddenly he calls us up on Sunday night and he said, "Oh, boys, it's wonderful." So everything was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So then from that, Airplane comes.
Well, we had actually written Airplane before we did Kentucky Fried Movie. We couldn't sell it. We even called Robert Stack's agent saying,
I read that.
Because the one guy in Airplane that we needed, the part of Rex Kramer, had to be Robert Stack. So we called his agent and we said, we're from Milwaukee and we did this movie and we want Robert Stack to play the lead. And he said, "Is this a go picture?" And we said, "What's a go picture?" And he said, "Come back when you have the money." So, and we did, years later, and he was still hard to get.
Yeah. And I think in the book, it talks about how his wife basically.
His wife loved it. And, Peter Graves' wife loved it. Peter Graves did not like the script.
Yeah.
He threw it across the room, said, "This is the worst piece of trash I've ever read."
Was the hardest part trying to get these guys who were serious actors?
Yes.
And obviously we'll talk about Leslie in a minute, but that these guys, Robert Stack, there was a reason you wanted him because he plays it so straight and so hardcore and everything he does. But to try to even get them to mentally be like, "Oh, this is going to be funny," but you're not really supposed to be funny.
Right. I don't know if they didn't get the script. Other actors read it who turned it down and thought this is just a collection of puns. It's just, and it was, but in this context, with the serious actors, it somehow worked.
How did you come up with that idea that you could just do joke after joke after joke, but still within a story that was going to make sense? Because that wasn't what Kentucky Fried Movie was, obviously.
No, the pace came from our show, and we were on stage. We weren't really actors. We weren't comics, but we could play it straight. And we never wanted to be on stage when they weren't laughing. We hated silence. So that kind of equated to 3 jokes a minute.
Well, I've got a lot of clips here, and now we're going to start bludgeoning you. You ready? And it was impossible to pick these because
Dave, our deal was that you wouldn't show clips.
Yeah, but I read and egged on the deal. What are you going to do?
Other people have said that about you.
All right, let's go to the cockpit scene in Airplane.
Ever been in a cockpit before?
No, sir. I've never been up in a plane before.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Do you want me to check the weather, Clarence?
No, why don't you take care of it? Joey, do you ever hang around the gymnasium?
We better get back now, Joey.
No, Joey can stay here for a while if you'd like.
Could I?
Okay, if you don't get in the way.
Flight 209er to Denver Radio. Climbing to cruise at 42,000. We'll report again over Lincoln. Over and out.
Wait a minute. I know you. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You play basketball for the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'm sorry, son, but you must have me confused with someone else. My name is Roger Murdoch. I'm the co-pilot.
You are Kareem. I've seen you play. My dad's got season tickets.
I think you should go back to your seat now, Joey. Right, Clarence?
No, he's not bothering anyone. Let him stay here.
All right, but just remember, my name is Roger Murdoch. I'm an airline pilot.
I think you're the greatest, but my dad says you don't work hard enough on defense. And he says that lots of times you don't even run down court. And that you don't really try, except during the playoffs.
The hell I don't. Listen, kid. I've been hearing that crap ever since I was at UCLA. I'm out there busting my buns every night. Tell your old man to drag Walton and Lanier up and down the court for 48 minutes.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever been to a Turkish prison? I mean, there's just so much there. So first up, the juxtaposition of Peter Graves, this very serious guy. You guys somehow bring in Kareem. Like, where in the world did that even all come from?
It all came, we just wanted to take the piss out of any, normal, airplane disaster movie. And the image of airline pilots in movies is these, pristine white guys who are just, totally squeaky clean. And then it turns out he's a pedophile. I mean, that was our first thought.
But you talk about this in the book. You guys had to nail that because it doesn't come off creepy. He's obviously,
first of all,
weirdly sexual, obviously, but it's somehow like done that you feel clean after or something.
That was the most precise directions we've ever given an actor because if you go and watch it again, it says, Joey, have you ever, it's just like he... And then he, we just said, you have to turn, look at him, say the line, look back, really precise. Usually we don't give that precise directions for anything.
And how did Kareem get involved in this whole thing?
Well, actually, we couldn't get Pete Rose, but that was very fortunate occurrence. Because he was, somehow we didn't think of Kareem. We thought Pete Rose, and it didn't go into anything personal it was before the gambling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he was just going to play it
we were shooting during, we were shooting during summer, and he was managing and playing with the Red Legs, I guess. Is that the team?
He was on the Reds.
Yeah, on the
Reds. Yeah.
So then we went to Kareem, and the trouble with Kareem read the script, and we heard that he just passed. He turned it down, and so our producer, our executive producer, Howard Koch, called his agent and said, "What the hell's going on? Why doesn't he want it?" He said, "Well, Kareem wants $5,000 more. There's a rug that he wants, and I keep a close watch on his finances, and he wants to buy this rug. It's $30,000. You're offering him $25,000, and so we just gave him the $30,000." And we just thought this was the most clever agent. It's another clever agent. However, a couple of months later, in Time magazine, they did a feature on Kareem, and he's displaying this rug.
He was very proud of the rug.
Yeah, he was very proud of the rug that he bought from Airplane.
Did he ever invite you to the house to see the rug?
No.
That really makes you wonder.
Yeah, I've been invited here more times than Kareem.
And then
we were invited to Robert Stack's house. Yeah.
Oh, that
was fun. And he had these stools that were elephants' feet.
Literal elephant's feet.
Literal elephant's
wow.
feet. Yeah. And you could sit on them. And he's a very nice guy.
You could get away with that in Hollywood?
In those days, yes.
Right.
This was the early 80s.
Before it went completely psychotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit about how psychotic Hollywood has gone when we get to the.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So when Peter Graves shoots this, and we'll get to Leslie in a second, and Robert Stack, did they realize it was funny at the time? So you give them the lines, they're playing it straight, but were they like, "What the hell am I doing?" Like when you're on set, did they feel like it was working?
Well, Peter Graves knew it was supposed to be funny, but he really didn't have much faith that it would work. And he was taking a big risk because, and when he first read the script, I later learned from being a director that when you're casting actors, all they do is read their own parts. Mm-hmm. So Peter Graves didn't read the whole script. He just read his own parts. And I think it appeared to him that he was playing a pedophile. Right. I don't know why, but but our executive producer, Howard Koch, this old line, he was the president of the Academy, past president of Paramount. I said, Peter, come in and meet the guys, the boys, as we were. So, we had him into the office at Paramount, and I think we kind of surprised him because we were just very preppy Wisconsin guys, not the drugged out, guys weirdos that he expected. Right. So, and then Stack, I guess he thought it was funny, but he knew he'd be making fun of himself, and he just wasn't sure. He didn't want to be the only one. So he said, who else is coming to the party? So we were able to tell him Graves, Nielsen.
Right. So then it made sense because
then it made sense
those guys
he'd
are
have
serious.
Other people. But Stack really got it. He knew exactly, because Lloyd Bridges didn't get it. And Lloyd Bridges was trying to make sense out of his dialogue and also playing it kind of winking in the rehearsals. And Stack finally said, Lloyd, they're not looking at us. Spears are hitting the wall. Watermelons are crashing in behind us. Just keep talking. Just keep talking, Lloyd.
Yeah, I just think it's so interesting because if you go to a comedy set now, it's all these comics on set and all these people that are at least purported to be funny, where you had all these like kind of serious people on set and you're making the most ludicrous thing ever. So just like the tone of the sets had to be just so wildly different.
Well, it's a complete departure, the whole thing. And that's why the actors very rightly were a little bit nervous about it.
Yeah.
And, Stack was great. He got right into it, and Lloyd got into it. But I always think that when you look at Lloyd's performance, there's a little bit, it's 2% of winking, where with Leslie, you can't tell at all. Stack, you can't tell. Graves is, completely straight. And then, but Lloyd was great, and just because, his lines were great and he was good.
If you're looking to laugh your ass off, check out our comedy playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a wide variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.